The 1990s were a decade of peak pop culture and nostalgia, as everyone fed their digital pets on the Tamagotchi and bopped around to hip-hop hits from Tupac and Vanilla Ice. The movie business was booming, and viewers could flock to theaters to see plenty of big stars. In addition to those known as actors, any big-time celebrity was practically guaranteed a movie offer for a flick catered to their fame. If you miss a time before social media when you could catch a blockbuster with a celebrity star who maybe shouldn't be acting, take a look back at these forgotten films built around the biggest names of the 90s. Pauly Shore thrived in the comedy scene of the 90s, with his stoner-esque humor proving popular enough to run his own segment on MTV. Shore's first major movie role was in the 1992 hit Encino Man, as the more popular best friend to Sean Astin's lead character. Following this role, Shore was offered more films to showcase his particular persona. Out of all of Shore's 90s comedies, Son-in-Law might not get the same love as Encino Man, but the 1993 film is equally hilarious. Shore plays Crawl, a college stoner raw who goes home with his friend Becca, Carla Gugino, for the holidays and winds up claiming he's proposed to her and she accepted. Thus unfold hilarious shenanigans as Crawl tries to prove himself to Becca's family of farmers and ends up winning them over more than anyone expects. Though this movie is less remembered, it's Shore at his peak, and worth a rewatch for fans of his style. Back in the 90s, when a muscled man with a blonde handlebar mustache and the greatest skullet of all time would tear his shirt off, audiences would go wild. For a period of time, Hulk Hogan's name was synonymous with pro wrestling, and his fame was well known enough even among the general public that Hollywood wanted a taste. Hogan put in a memorable cameo as the hulking Thunderlips in 1982's Rocky III, and began acting more from there. Hogan's foray into the film business mostly came in comedies that juxtaposed his fierce physical abilities with quaint domestic settings. He starred in family-friendly fodder like 1991's Suburban Commando, where Hogan is an intergalactic soldier who has to adjust to suburban life on Earth. In 1993, he followed it up with Mr. Nanny, which featured Hogan as a bodyguard hired by a rich tech mogul who ends up expected to babysit the man's two mischievous kids. Like our content? Make sure to follow us. As a stand-up comedian, Sinbad's popularity hit its high point in the 90s when he filmed multiple comedy specials and received his own series, The Sinbad Show. And no, he didn't star in a film called Shazam. That's still one of the greatest examples of the Mandela effect in the history of cinema. On the flip side, many forget the existence of Sinbad's genuine performance in 1995's Houseguest, alongside the late great Phil Hartman. Sinbad plays Kevin Franklin, a con man who goes into hiding to escape death by pretending to be a family's long-lost friend. Of course, this results in a lot of hilarity as Kevin must embody the friend's personality as a boring, vegetarian dentist, and Sinbad gives a typical raucous performance. The late Jerry Springer came to prominence in the 90s as the host of his eponymous talk show. Though in the early episodes, Springer discussed politics and other contemporary issues, Jerry Springer quickly became known as a tabloid show, where guests were encouraged to reveal personal drama or confront friends and family members on camera, which more often than not resulted in a brawl on stage. In 1998, Springer played a fictionalized version of himself, Jerry Farrelly, in Ringmaster. The comedy features several subplots of feuding and scandalous families, while Farrelly tries to deal with his claim to fame and how his success also comes with the celebrated downfall of others. It seems to be an attempt at self-satire on Springer's part, but critics panned the film, and Springer went back to hosting his real-life show. The Fonda family is practically royalty in Hollywood. Bridget Fonda followed in her father Peter, Aunt Jane, and grandfather Henry's footsteps, becoming a celebrated actor. She achieved mainstream recognition thanks to roles in The Godfather Part 3 and Single White Female. One of Fonda's lesser-known films is 1993's action film Point of No Return. It's a shame since it's essentially a remake of Luc Besson's classic La Femme Nikita. Fonda takes the lead as Maggie Hayward, a young woman who agrees to training to become a deadly assassin in order to avoid punishment for her crimes. The film was somewhat positively received, with critics praising Fonda's work as the complex central character. However, the success of the film was perhaps limited by its similarity to the original French film. The hip-hop duo of Kid, Christopher Reed, and Play, Christopher Martin, were known for their infectious jams as much as their hair, or Kid was, at least. They had chart-topping rap hits like Funhouse and Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody. The rapping rebels pivoted toward acting, playing fictional versions of themselves in the 1990 comedy House Party film series. Like the name implies, these comedies see young versions of Kid and Play attempting to throw a great party while their parents are on vacation, and getting into trouble along the way. It was popular enough at the time to receive a sequel, and more recently, a remake in 2023, which may have dredged this movie out of the depths of many viewers' memories. Macaulay Culkin is, without a doubt, one of the top child actors from the 90s. Home Alone turned him into a household name across the globe, and no one could get enough his brand of cheeky family-friendly entertainment. While there are numerous Culkin performances to choose from for the perfect 90s marathon, one of his less appreciated roles is in 1994's Getting Even with Dad. In this movie, Culkin plays Timmy Gleason, whose father, Ray, Ted Danson, is a con artist. When Timmy drops in for an unexpected visit, Ray's less-than-legal plans are thrown into disarray as this father and son try to rebuild their troubled relationship. It's a treat to see Culkin get to play opposite another big star of the era. In the 1990s, Cindy Crawford's image was everywhere. The sought-after supermodel became a popular figure, appearing on the covers of fashion and beauty magazines and even in Jon Bon Jovi's music video for his cover of Please Come Home for Christmas. Crawford also tried her hand at acting, taking a co-lead role in 1995's action thriller Fair Game, alongside William Baldwin. Crawford plays attorney Kate McQueen, who gets caught in the crosshairs of former KGB spies when, during a case, she attempts to seize a freighter ship for unpaid alimony. A handsome detective, Baldwin, keeps her safe from the bad guys, while also falling in love with her. Though the movie got poor reviews, that may not be why Crawford didn't take many acting roles after this. She was also upset that audiences thought she was too pretty to be a lawyer. While the 90s well and truly belonged to Michael Jordan, there was another standout NBA player in the form of Shaquille O'Neal, aka Shaq. He lit up the court with his skills and had an affable personality to boot, which resulted in him transitioning to other entertainment fields as well. He even had a few hip-hop albums and his own fighting video game called Shaq Fu. Hollywood noticed Shaq's appeal as well, as he was cast as the superhero John Henry Irons, aka Steel, in 1997's Steel. Out of the handful of movies Shaq appeared in throughout the decades, this DC adaptation is largely forgotten among the rest, probably thanks to poor fan and critical response calling both the acting and plot cheesy. Still, nothing beats seeing Shaq's huge frame decked out in steel armor as he fights off baddies. In the 90s, Laura Flynn Boyle captured the public's attention after appearing as Donna Hayward in Twin Peaks. She used the goodwill from the series to pave out a remarkable career for herself, where she went on to appear in notable films such as Wayne's World and The Rookie. In 1993, Boyle turned up the suspense by appearing in the thriller The Temp. She plays Temp Chris Bolin, a temp worker assigned to assist Peter Derns, Timothy Hutton. Peter is initially happy with how much Chris supports him, until he suspects she may be behind a string of mysterious deaths around the company that set him up for promotions. The movie faced challenges in production including last-minute ending changes, leading to poor box office performance and many forgetting it existed. Alright, stop, collaborate and listen. Vanilla Ice grabbed attention with his rap career in the 90s, particularly with the chart-topping Ice Ice Baby. Soon after that hit, Hollywood was attracted to Vanilla Ice's rising fame, and created a movie vehicle for him. Cool as Ice stars the rapper as a fictionalized version of himself, a rapper named Johnny Van Owen, who rides in on a motorcycle and shakes up a sleepy small town. Johnny falls in love with student Kathy Winslow, Kristen Minter, and he's happy to help out when Kathy's father, who's in the witness protection program, is exposed. With an unusual blend of comedy, action, and romance, the movie flopped at the box office, but it's worth a watch for the unintentional humor and cheesiness. In the 90s, people actually answered their phones, therefore, prank calls were a fun way to pass the time and rack up the household's phone bill. Nobody captured the magic of catching a stranger off guard like the comedy duo known as the Jerky Boys, who built a solid career from phoning up random people and recording their reactions for a laugh. Johnny Brennan and Kamal Ahmed's pranks were so popular that the two received their own 1995 film titled The Jerky Boys, the movie. Billed as the movie the phone company doesn't want you to see, the crime comedy takes the basic premise of their whole act and adds to it, asking the question, what happens if you phone up the wrong person and get caught up in mafia business? Even with supporting performances from known actors like Alan Arkin and Vicent Pastor, and even a minor appearance by Ozzy Osbourne, this movie is now forgotten much like most of the Jerky Boys' work. Even though Tupac Shakur passed away in 1996 at the young age of 25, he had become one of the hottest rappers on the planet, releasing many successful albums in the early 90s. Tupac's music connected with the listeners in a way that most rappers struggle to in a lifetime, and his influence on hip-hop and rap remains powerful to this day. Shakur made the leap to acting, appearing in a handful of successful films, but 1996's Bullet is often forgotten among them. Shakur plays the drug dealer Tank, who gets into a tangle with Butch, Mickey Rourke, after the latter steals goods from him. It's a crime drama dripping with all sorts of remarkable talent, such as Adrian Brody, Michael K. Williams, and Peter Dinklage, and well worth another look even decades later for the cast alone. Flickering Myth described Yahoo Serious as Carrot Top before Carrot Top, which is an accurate assessment of this Australian actor. After legally changing his name from Greg Peed to Yahoo Serious, he initially made some small films in Australia before one breakout hit, Young Einstein, earned him wider attention. While most memories of Yahoo Serious feature his teased-out hair on the VHS cover for Young Einstein, Serious also wrote, directed, produced, and starred in 1993's Reckless Kelly, a modern riff on the story of the Australian outlaw Ned Kelly. Serious plays a descendant of Kelly, who needs money to save his family's land but lacks his ancestors' talent for bank robbery, so he heads to Hollywood instead. Mention the name Tori Spelling and the first thing that comes to mind is Donna Martin from Beverly Hills, 90210. The teen drama dominated the 1990s, as did the Spelling family. Tori's father, Aaron Spelling, was a hugely successful producer who also worked on 90210. Spelling spread her wings into the film world, appearing in a few 90s gems like Scream 2 and Trick. One of the deeper cuts from Spelling's 90s resume is a largely forgotten 1997 gem known as The House of Yes, which also stars Parker Posey, Josh Hamilton, and Freddie Prinze Jr. Spelling plays Leslie, the fiancée of Marty Pascal, Hamilton. When she goes with him to meet his family and his Jackie O-obsessed twin sister, serious trouble awaits her. Though the dark comedy received mixed reviews, the cast were all praised, with one review calling Spelling's casting inspired. Put simply, Jason Priestley was the teen heartthrob of the 90s. Priestley captured hearts as Brandon Walsh in Beverly Hills, 90210 and quickly became the new, it guy on television, as everyone fell in love with his slick back hair and brooding qualities. He appeared in a handful of well-known films that decade as well, including Tombstone and Vanishing Point. In 1993, Priestley received the chance to lead his own movie in the shape of the comedy drama Calendar Girl. Set in 1962, the road trip film balances comedy and drama as three childhood friends who band together and head off to Tinseltown to meet Marilyn Monroe. Roy Priestley avoids confronting his strained relationship with his father, focusing instead on the journey to a genuine date with Marilyn, played by Stephanie Anderson. The film was poorly received and remains largely forgotten today, but it's a time capsule of how beloved Priestley was in the 1990s. No matter what David Schwimmer does in his life, he will always be remembered as Ross Geller from Friends. The sitcom dominated the 90s and early 2000s and transformed the lives of the six leads. However, it has also resulted in them struggling to shake off being seen as these characters or archetypes. In 1996, Schwimmer starred in Matt Reeves' directorial debut, The Pallbearer. The romantic comedy follows Tom Thompson, Schwimmer, who has to be a pallbearer at an old classmate's funeral. Here's the problem, though. Tom doesn't remember this person at all. At the same time, his old crush, Gwyneth Paltrow, shows up, forcing Tom to fake his way through the funeral. Though the film didn't make a big splash, many viewers still found Schwimmer's performance enjoyable, at least as enjoyable as Ross. There's no disputing Andrew Dice Clay peaked as a comedian in the 90s, as he sold out Madison Square Garden and found a place in the hearts of audiences who enjoyed his foul-mouthed tough guy persona. He made occasional appearances in TV episodes and films, as many comedians do. Midway through the 90s, Clay got a chance to step out of his usual genre. Audiences were used to seeing Clay in comedic settings, so no one could have been prepared for his role in 1995's No Contest. The now forgotten action flick stars Shannon Tweed as a kickboxing Miss Galaxy contestant fighting against criminals who take over the competition. Clay portrays Oz, the boss baddie who takes over a beauty contest and demands diamonds in return. Seeing Clay as an action villain is surprisingly satisfying, even seeing him get his teeth kicked in by Tweed's character. Like our content? Make sure to follow us.